Welcome back, students. In the previous two lessons, we have discussed the basic concepts of coordinate geometry. How do we create a coordinate plane and how we denote a point on a coordinate plane, how we read the coordinates of a point, and how we denote a point on a coordinate plane when its coordinates are given. Now in this class, we will move on to a topic to calculate the distance between 2 points. In this topic, this is the first part. So let us discuss this part. Now as you know, here this is the coordinate plane as we already discussed. The horizontal line is called the x-axis and the vertical line is called y-axis. Now we denote 2 points in this plane and we try to calculate the distance between the 2 points. Here I have indicated 2 points, A and B. Can you tell me the coordinates of these points? Yes, you pause this video for a while, you write the coordinates and then you resume this video. Now the coordinates of the points are 1, 0 and 5, 0. So A is 1, 0 and B is 5, 0. As you know, these 2 points are on the x-axis. Their y coordinates should be 0. Now, our aim is to calculate the distance between these 2 points. That is, how long is B or how far is B from A. Just by looking at this, you can simply tell the distance from A to B. So you can simply calculate 1, 2, 3 and 4. So point B is 5 units away from point A. So the distance, we say that the distance between A and B is 4 units. So these 2 points are on the x-axis. Now we'll take 2 more points and we'll calculate the distance between them. Here I have taken one more A and now this is not on the axis, and this is in which quadrant? Very good. This is in the first quadrant. Now I'll take another point. Before going to that, I think you have written the coordinates. A is 2 and 2. We'll take one more point B. Tell me the coordinates of B. Very nice. This is 7 and 2. So now we have to find the distance between these two. You just pause this video and you try to find the distance between these 2 points just by counting the units. So this is, now I want the distance from B to A. So you have to find the distance, how far is this B from A. Then you can simply, by looking at this, you can tell B is 5 units away from A. That is, you can, by looking at this graph, you can tell 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So you have to understand this very clearly. Just by looking at these 2 points, you can tell the distance very easily. Now let us move to the other quadrants. Now here we have indicated 2 points A and B. One is A in the second quadrant and B is in the first quadrant. So let us write the coordinates. As A is in the second quadrant, its x coordinate should be negative. So this is minus 5 and 3. And B is in first quadrant, so it is 3 and 3. Now you try to calculate the distance between these two. How much is that? You just count the units which are between A and B. So this is clearly 8 units. Right? Now let us move on to some other points. We have taken these 2 points in the third quadrant. Now write the coordinates at this point. Minus 8 and minus 3 is for E. Minus 4 and minus 3 for F. Now there is a relation between the distance between these 2 points and their coordinates. In this is the fourth example. Among all these 4 examples, we have taken one thing common. The line joining these 2 points is actually parallel to the x-axis. So when you see the distance between these two, it's actually 1, 2, 3 and 4. When you join these 2 points through a line, it forms actually a line parallel to the x-axis. Let's take one more case. These 2 points are in the fourth quadrant. Now you look at A and B. If you join them, you will have a line segment which is parallel to the x-axis. In the first example, we have taken both the points on the x-axis. In that case, the distance between the 2 points is actually the difference of the x coordinates because the y coordinates are 0. Now we'll apply the same concept here. What is the x coordinate of A? This is 3. And what is the x coordinate of 6? It is 6. Now when you take these two, if you observe, both y coordinates of both these points are equal. Minus 2 for A and minus 2 is again for B. Now if you want to find the distance between these two, it's very simple. You just have to subtract or you have to find the difference of the two x coordinates. Here you can simply see the distance from A to B. This is 1, 2 and 3. So here the distance is 6 minus 3, which is 3. Now it's actually the difference of the x coordinate. So when you have 2 points in the coordinate plane which are either on the x-axis or forming a straight line or forming a line segment parallel to the x-axis, and you want to calculate the distance between these 2 points, it's very simple. You just find the difference of the x coordinates. That's enough, because their y coordinates are already equal. In general, as you know, we denote a point on the coordinate plane as x and y. When you have 2 points, we indicate them as the first point as x1 y1 and second point as x2 y2. If you have the third point, we indicate it as x3 y3 and so on. Now in this case, when you have 2 points on the x-axis, their y coordinates are 0. So to calculate the distance between them, you just have to find the difference of their x coordinates. By calculating the difference of their x coordinates, you will have the distance between the 2 points. Now you have a look at this. Here we have, now the points are, in general, I just told you, we denote the points as x1 y1, x2 y2 and x3 y3 and so on. Now for the points either on x-axis or any line parallel to the x-axis, their y coordinates are equal, which we have already discussed. Now, so when their y coordinates are equal, instead of writing the points as x1 and y1, x1 y1 and x2 y2, as the y coordinates are equal, we need not write these suffixes like y1, y2, y3 as they are already equal. We can just write y, that's enough. So here you can write x1 y, x2 y, because their y coordinates are already equal. If both the points are on x-axis in particular, y's are already 0. So you can write x1 0, x2 0 here. Now you have to calculate the distance between them. You just find the difference of these two x coordinates. So that is x2 minus x1. So the distance between the points is nothing but the difference of the two x coordinates. So you have to subtract the first x coordinate from the second. So which becomes to be x2 minus of x1. Now sometimes you have this difference as negative also, but as we know, physical quantities like heights, weights, distances, these cannot be negative. So how can we eliminate this error? For example, I'll take this case. You have a point like minus 2, 3 and you have another point minus 7, 3. When you subtract them, you will have the difference as minus 3. But distance cannot be negative. So to eliminate that, we'll take the absolute value of the difference. So absolute value is nothing but the distance of a value from 0. How far is it from 0? For example, you take the case of 5. 5 is 5 units from 0 on the number line. You take the value minus 4. Actually, minus 4 is 4 units away from 0 to the left side of 0. As the symbol indicates the direction in which it is present on the number line, but the distance is 4. So in that case, to eliminate the negative values, we take the absolute value of this difference. So this absolute value is written as this, and we sometimes read it as modulus. So this is absolute value of x2 minus x1. For your understanding, I have given you, for example, few examples for these absolute values. Absolute value of 6 is 6. Absolute value of 10 is 10, because 6 is 6 units away from 6. 10 is 10 units away from 0. And when you take the absolute value of minus 4, as I explained you, minus 4 is 4 units away from 0. Here the direction does not matter. And minus 15 is 15 units away from 0. So absolute value of minus 15 is 15. So that is how you calculate the distance between 2 points, which are when both the points are on x-axis or forming a line segment which is parallel to the x-axis. So I'll give you an example to calculate the distance. For example, you have here 3, 6, 8, 6. Their y coordinates are equal. So we can simply say that when you join these two, you'll have a straight line parallel to the x-axis. As I told you, the distance is absolute value of x2 minus x1, modulus of x2 minus x1. Here x1 is 3, x2 is 8. So when you find the difference x2 minus x1, it is modulus of 8 minus 3. As you know, 8 minus 3 is 5. Modulus of 5, just as I explained you, modulus of 5 is 5. So modulus of absolute value of positive value is positive. Absolute value of any value, either negative or positive, is always positive. Absolute value of 0 is 0, of course. Now, this is how you calculate the distance between these two. Here you have to understand one thing. Instead of calculating x2 minus x1, you can calculate the absolute value of x1 minus x2 also. In that case, you will get the same value. For example, you calculate the value of x1 minus x2. 3 minus 8 will give you negative 5. And modulus of absolute value of negative 5 is again 5. So it doesn't matter whether you calculate x2 minus x1 or x1 minus x2. But in general, we will subtract the first value from the second. Let us take one more example. So see here, C is 2, 5 and D is minus 5 and 5. Here x1 is 2, x2 is negative 5. When you subtract x1 from x2, minus 5, minus 2, and as we know this is minus 7, absolute value of minus 7 is again 7. So this is how you calculate the distance between 2 points when both of them are either on x-axis or forming a line segment parallel to the x-axis. So here I'll give you two problems. You just pause the video at each problem. You write the solution neatly on a paper and you post it to me. Right? This is the first problem. Here I have indicated some points from A to N. Now you have to find the distance between these 2 points as I mentioned here. What's the distance between AB? On a paper you just write AB is equal to some 10 units, 8 units or n units. You can write that. You calculate the distance from A to B. You need not use any formula. Just by looking at this graph, you can write the answer. By looking at the graph, you write the answer. You pause this video for a while till you complete the problem. Then you move on to the second problem. Second problem is like this. Here, instead of giving points on the graph sheet on the coordinate plane, I have given their coordinates. Just as we have solved in the previous two examples, you have to find the distance between AB and you have to find distance between CD. Sorry, example, this is actually E. By mistake, I have written it as 3. Make it E, F, and you calculate G and H. You solve these problems neatly using the formula and you post it to me. I hope you understood this concept. In the next part, we'll find how to calculate the distance when both the points are on y-axis or forming a line segment parallel to y-axis. Thank you.